what's up everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we are doing the Figueroa versus Magsayo breakdown video. This featherweight showdown takes place Saturday, March 4th in the main event of a Showtime card. I believe it's either a WBC final eliminator or it is for the WBC interim featherweight title. One of those two, which basically amounts to pretty much the same thing. So before we get going on the breakdown video, guys, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate any support I get from everybody. It really goes a long way and it helps me out, and I'd appreciate the love. But if you don't like what I'm doing, you know, you could do a thumbs down. Excuse me, do a thumbs down, or leave a negative comment. I'm okay with that. You know, I want you guys to be real with me. But back to this big time featherweight showdown right here, and it's pitting two of the top 5 featherweights in the world right now. Two former world champions, Brandon Figueroa and Mark Magsayo, as they are going to compete to get in line for the WBC title. They both won a title shot, and you know, it's a big time kind of banger fight right here, and I'm really looking forward to it. I am. I think it's going to be all action. I think it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun to watch, and I don't think you guys are going to want to miss this one. It's going to be good. But as I do with my breakdown videos, we always start with the champion and then go to the challenger, or we start with the favorite and go to the underdog. And then I ask the same questions. I talk about what they've done coming in, pretty much like their last couple fights, what they've done coming into the fight, and then ask the same questions. I see if it's better for boxing if one or the other wins, or and then I give my predictions. So let's get into it. Let's start with the former junior featherweight champ at 122, Brandon Figueroa, in this fight, and take a look at what he's done coming in. Well, his last 3 fights have been, you know, all good ones. He defeated Luis Neri to capture his first, to capture the WBC featherweight title in May of 2021. It was a good 7th round knockout win in a fight where it was very close. He was probably behind on the cards, but he grinded it out and scored a big body shot victory to capture the belt, handed Neri his first loss. Then he went in against Stephen Fulton Jr. in November of that same year, 2021, in a unification bout. Fulton had the WBO title. They went at it. It was a great fight, back and forth, fight of the year candidate, and it ended in a majority decision victory for Fulton, as Figueroa would be handed his first loss. After the fight, he cited that he was moving to 126, and in July of last year, 2022, he would move to 126 on a Showtime undercard, and he would take on Carlos Castro, and what a lot of people thought was going to be a banger, and he absolutely dominated Castro, stopping him in 7 rounds, or 6 rounds, one or the other, as he stayed, as he debuted in the weight class. So now he hasn't fought since July of last year. So he's heading into this one about roughly about an 8-month layoff. Not too bad. Brandon Figueroa is young, and he's in very good shape. And I think, 126 is a good weight for him. So he's rolling in confident. I really think he wants to fight Ray Vargas for the title, and he's coming in ready to go. Now, what kind of style does Figueroa need to have to win this fight? Well, Figueroa, most of the time, is only one style. He's a grinder. He comes right at you. He throws a lot of punches. He throws punches to the body, and he tries to overwhelm you with his size and his strength. But against Magsayo hits back hard. But I really do think swarming Magsayo might be the best option. But he has to watch out for those short hooks by Magsayo that he has. He has a 2-inch, I think 2.5 inch height advantage, and he has a pretty solid like 4 to 4.5 reach advantage. So he needs to take advantage of the size difference, the physical advantage that he has over Magsayo. He needs to take full advantage of that and really put him on notice. But I really think if he doesn't get hurt, you know, he does have to play defense. So I'd say like throw a jab on his way in and then smother him and just throw those punches. Magsayo's not a good mover in terms of, you know, moving side to side and stuff and all that. But if you take Magsayo into the deep waters, outside of that victory over Julio Ceja, which he was losing that fight, you know, he looks like he fades. Against Gary Russell, that happened. And then against Ray Vargas, he wasn't at his full strength in the second half, even though he fought hard and Vargas left an opening there in the second half of the fight. It wasn't, you know, he doesn't seem to have the same steam in the second half. So I think that's something that Figueroa might want to expose by taking him, by grinding him in the first half of the fight, taking him into that second half and seeing what happens. But that's what I think Figueroa needs to do to win. Now, can Figueroa win this fight by knockout? I think he can. I think he can hurt Magsayo early, middle, or late by overwhelming him and win by knockout. Can Figueroa win by decision? I think he can do that too. I think he's a busier fighter. I think he can accumulate more points, and I think he can definitely win by a decision. Now, what does a win mean for Brandon Figueroa? Well, it means everything. It's a huge win. You know, it's a good size win, and he becomes the interim champion, and he lines himself up for a shot with Ray Vargas. And if Vargas decides he doesn't want to fight him, then Figueroa gets upgraded to full champ. And you know, we could see Figueroa and Fulton or somebody else sooner rather than later, maybe early next year, because what if Fulton loses to what's his name, to Naoya Inoue in May? Then, you know, a rematch between Fulton and Figueroa could be on the table. So we'll see. A win means a lot for Brandon Figueroa. It just keeps that door wide open for him, you know, moving forward. Now, what happens if he loses to Mark Magsayo? That would really hurt Brandon Figueroa. A loss would really hurt him in this fight, especially if he gets knocked out. That would really expose him. It would really put him back, and I think it's a tough one for him. So we'll see what goes down. We'll see if you know that's what I think. If he were to lose the fight, I think it'd be devastating to Figueroa. Now we're gonna move over to Mark Magsayo, the former featherweight champ. 1 second, guys. For Magsayo heading into this fight, we'll go back to his last three. They've been the biggest fights of his career. In 2021, he came back and upset Julio Ceja in the late rounds, knocked him out in the 10th, behind on the cards, and really elevated him to the WBC's top spot at featherweight. And then he got a mandatory shot against Gary Russell Jr. in January of last year. And he went after Gary Russell, especially when Russell was injured his shoulder. He went after him, pretty much took the first half of the fight. Second half was majority Gary Russell fighting with one arm winning, but when it went to the scorecards, Mark Magsayo would pull off a huge upset and become the WBC featherweight champion of the world with that win. You know, it was huge for him, and that put him in a mandatory defense himself against undefeated Ray Vargas that took place in the main event of a July card. And you know, they went at it. It was a really good fight. Vargas was winning pretty clear in my book through about 7 to 8 rounds, and then he decided he wanted to go for the knockout, and Mark Magsayo took advantage of that, almost knocking Vargas out when he did that, as he put him down in the late rounds. But when they went to the scorecards, Vargas would win a deserving 12-round split decision in a good fight and take the title from Magsayo, handing him his first loss. So he hasn't fought since the same night that it was for Brandon Figueroa, as Figueroa fought on the undercard of them. So it's okay, you know. I mean, 8 months. He's coming off of a grinder and a tough fight. So I don't think that's too big of a deal for Mark Magsayo. So I think heading into this one, he's going to be about the same as he's always been. So I really do like Mark Magsayo, you know, and his style and stuff. And you know, heading in, I think he's hungry and wants to bounce back with a big win. But he's taking a risk fighting Figueroa. Now, what kind of style fight does Magsayo need to have? One, he needs to be in the best shape of his life. He really does, because Brandon Figueroa is going to put him to the test. He needs to be ready to move his feet. I don't think getting into an all-out war and slugfest with Brandon Figueroa is smart at all. I think he needs to try to work his way in with, you know, let Figueroa come forward, but counterpunch, land those short hooks, and move side to side, get out of the way, use the angles. He needs to become more of the boxer here, because we know what kind of fighter Figueroa is. But Magsayo does hit hard, and if he can send a message and hurt Figueroa early, he might be able to pull off the victory here. Now, what kind, or if he could take him into the deep waters after hurting him, he might be able to pull it off. Now, do I think Mark Magsayo can win this fight by knockout? Brandon Figueroa is such a good, can take punches, a lot of them. He's got a good chin, but, you know, Magsayo can hurt people. So I'm going to say it's possible, if he were to catch him out of nowhere, it's possible to hit him with that, with a big shot, and potentially hurt him. But I don't know if he can knock him out. I'm very 50-50 on that, because I've really never seen Figueroa get hurt, but he's always fought smaller guys at 122. So maybe Magsayo could do it. Can Magsayo win a decision? It's tough, you know, to win a decision against Figueroa because he throws so many punches. But I think Magsayo has the ability to potentially make it a close fight. So maybe. What does a win mean for Mark Magsayo? It means everything. It bounces him back into the picture, and you know, lets everybody know that he's a serious threat. It gets him likely a rematch with Ray Vargas, which is something he wants. He wants to avenge his only defeat. So it'd be big for Magsayo. Now, what does a loss mean for Mark Magsayo? Well, a loss, you know, kind of really puts him on the back burner. That'd be back-to-back losses, and depending on how he loses, it could hurt him. But like, say he loses a close decision. Okay, well, you know, or it's an all-out war and he fades in the late rounds and gets stopped. I don't think that's gonna hurt him too bad. But if he were to get his ass whipped and knocked out, then that's really gonna, you know, set him back right there. And we might not see Magsayo fight for the rest of the year with another loss. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, it definitely will hurt Magsayo to lose this fight. Now, is it better for boxing if Brandon Figueroa wins this fight, or if Mark Magsayo wins? And this one, to me, is clear. It's better if Brandon Figueroa wins. He's a more exciting fighter. People know him more, and I think a win here sets him up in a weight class that he's very comfortable in, and it really puts him, you know, shooting towards the top. Magsayo, outside of the Philippines and to the real boxing community, he's not too well known. I don't think he's taken too serious. I think people look at the win over Gary Russell as so what, you know, because Gary Russell was injured with one arm. Excuse me. And the only reason I think a lot of people look at the fight with Ray Vargas as only being close because Vargas allowed it to be close by deciding to go for the knockout. So I do think there's that stigma there. So I don't think people take Magsayo as serious as they take Brandon Figueroa. So definitely, in my opinion, better if Figueroa wins this fight. Now, who do I believe is going to win this fight? What's my prediction? And I'm going with Brandon Figueroa. I think Figueroa is going to grind Mark Magsayo down with his size advantage. He's going to break him down, and I think he will stop him in the late rounds as Magsayo will fade, and Brandon Figueroa will become the interim champion and line himself up with a title shot. So that's what I think. I do think Magsayo potentially is a live underdog, but I really do believe in my pick here that we're going to see Brandon Figueroa winning this fight. But we'll see what happens. Again, Saturday, March 4th on Showtime. You don't want to miss it. Straight banger. Figueroa versus Magsayo. This was the breakdown video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.